Welcome to the Highland Park Spotlight. I'm your host, Keisha B, and I am excited, to be here one more again. And so today I have a couple of guests in studio with me that I'm excited to just talk about some of the things that's happening here in Highland Park with, and I am going to allow for them to introduce themselves and their roles in shaping Highland Park's future. So thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. But I am going to allow for you guys to briefly introduce yourselves for those that may be watching.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Carlton Clyburn. I'm the Director for Community and Economic Development for the City of Highland Park.
Awesome.
All right, good afternoon. Donovan Smith, Principal Planner with McKenna and Planning Manager for the Planning Department in Highland Park.
Awesome. So as you guys heard, they important. That's basically what that means to me. They're important when it comes to the planning of reshaping Highland Park and the vision that is to go forth. So let me ask you guys this. What are some of the key goals of this new planning initiative for the city? Don't speak at once.
I'll start. So we know this is something that's been a long time in the making. Highland Park really needs this. We've been hurting for a planning department for a very long time. Mm-hmm. So we'd like to thank the state and those partners that came up and helped us make this happen. So we did bring McKenna in, and the plan is to actually really shape what development needs to look like in the city of Highland Park. So we have a plan, but the planning department also brings the capacity to make these things happen.
Okay. Yeah. Did you want to say anything?
Yeah, and then if I could add just some context, because planning can be a little broad sometimes to different audiences. So when we say planning, we're talking about the kind of overall comprehensive and long range vision for the city of Highland Park.
Okay.
So one of the things that we bring in terms of capacity is being able to look at that long range strategy and finding out different ways we can fold in various aspects of the city and community into that vision, and finding ways to bring that forward.
All right. Sounds good to me. I don't know about everybody else. But it's been a long time coming, because I know that a lot of the residents are eager to see a change here in Highland Park and to see how the administration has kind of shifted over time and seeing how things are coming into fruition. I think it's great. But how does the city's master plan align with the work that's being done by you guys, the planning? It was McKenna, right?
McKenna and Associates, yes.
Yeah, and the CED department.
So I'm going to just say something. I would like to add, the residents are looking, but that's a lot of people that want to see Highland Park succeed.
Oh, for sure.
We have some people that's, maybe not, but I think overall a lot of people do want to see Highland Park, become successful. And we do have a master plan, like you mentioned, that was adopted in 21. And what this does is give us a framework and a starting point. So, they will be looking over it and making updates and change, because things have changed since 21, and it's going to be expanded upon. We're also engaged with the redevelopment ready communities with MEDC.
Okay.
And a lot of the things that their checks that we need to do aligns with the master plan, and we got the capacity now to make all of that happen.
That's awesome. You hit on MEDC, right? Mm-hmm. So what are some of the other partnerships that the Community and Economic Development Department has fostered since you've come into office?
So the state treasurer, the state land bank, we meeting with the Wayne County Economic Development Department regularly, like MEDC, MISTA. We've been working with SIMCOG for some time.
Okay.
SBA then came in. So it's like these people are really stepping up and coming to the table. And it got a lot to do with McKenna also. I'm seriously, because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it takes that capacity, it takes that knowledge, it takes that know-how, the things that Donovan and his team brings to the table to really help move these things forward. Because I'm going to let Donovan talk after this, but because we still have, as far as CED, we have things that's currently going on. So, we're still taking in offers to purchase. We're still working with developers, but we're planning long term.
Okay.
So it's a, dynamic where, we still got to take care of the business today, but we planning for the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I want to go back to, you mentioned the master plan. And the master plan is really a state-driven process. So it's driven by the state's zoning and enabling act and plan enabling act. And one of the things that they updated in the past year was that these master plans must include housing strategies and components about planning for future housing in communities. So one of the things that we'll be bringing to Highland Park in the very near future is updating and amending the current master plan to include strategies directly related to housing. So that'll be built into the long range planning vision for the city.
Okay, so there's actually work being done.
Yeah, we working.
Because
we
people think that there's nothing being done because they can't see anything yet, right? And a lot of things take place behind the scenes, and so it takes time to you actually start to see things on the forefront. So it's just good to hear that things are actually moving, and that the partnerships are being created and relationships and the continuous talks. So what do you find as being some of the biggest challenges facing Highland Park right now in terms of economic and community development?
So I would love to hear from Donovan first, because because he newer to the scene.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I got stuff that's compounded over time. So I want to hear some of the fresh viewpoint.
Touche.
And I was just telling Carlton the other day, I approach Highland Park with a fresh eyes, fresh pair. A lot of what I see is new to me.
Okay.
And just terms of experience, I don't have a lot of experience with Highland Park, so everything that I'm just shocked at a lot of the great things I do see, and the treasures that I see that are here in Highland Park. So when it comes to challenges, I think maybe the greatest I see is just that kickstart, getting that momentum going to say that, there are things happening and there are things coming and people see it, and like you said, they can touch it, they can engage in it, and letting people know this is real. We're not just here having meetings and talking for no reason. We're actually putting frameworks and implementation plans together so we can actually do these things. And I think that's the biggest challenge. I think a lot of other challenges are manageable, and we can find ways to problem solve them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And even that, I think we're on a path to doing those things.
All right. Carlton, you got anything you want to add?
No, I got to say it. Information, misinformation. I don't know where that misinformation comes from, but there's so much misinformation out here about what's actually going on. I mean, it's and that that could be hard to manage at times. So I just got to stay, just tune it out and move forward. Also, the divisions within the city, within the people that's running the city, and just making decisions. It's my whole thing is, let's get on the same page and move this forward. We don't have to. It's not a personal thing. Mm-hmm. It's this is what it is. I mean, over 40% of the city is publicly owned.
Wow.
Okay, so over 40%. So what that means is, for a municipality to operate, they operate on tax base.
Right.
If over 41% of the city is publicly owned, that's no tax base. So services, development, all of those things, it's not going to happen because we don't have the tax base to do those things. So we got to develop. We got to sell property, and we got to develop the property.
Right.
The city alone has like over 1,450 parcels that they own. We're not in the business of owning land. We only operate maybe six spaces, with 10 with the parks, maybe.
Yep.
So you're talking all of this unproductive use that could be put back into productive use, and it also sparks economic development.
Wow. Over 40%. Okay.
Yes. That's a huge number.
That is. That's almost 50.
That's almost
half
we're
of the
not
properties.
even talking about those parcels that are tax exempt, because it's another list of those
Oh,
by churches, nonprofits who just sitting on property. Some of these nonprofits have been sitting on property for 20 and 30 years. So
wow.
we are looking at our nuisance abatement ordinance to to pull them off. If you're not going to do anything, because they're blighted properties, they're just sitting there. So if you're not going to do anything with it, we got to change ownership. So now with this
Yeah.
capacity, we can, because CED, we kind of responsible for that, and to have capacity, we able to shift focus.
Right, right.
And knowing that we got some people that's really working on our planning and the building up. So McKenna came in, they took over the building department also. So now they working hand in hand, and this, I like the direction that we're going. It's
Okay.
exciting to me.
I do too. It is very exciting.
Yeah, it's from what you guys are saying and hearing just the talks, the things that's happening behind the scenes, it's definitely sounds exciting. So what role does the community input play in these developments, into shaping like the directives of what you guys are doing?
That's his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Tell him about it, Don.
Great
Run it
question.
down.
Tell them about it.
and I think that's what leads to the exciting part, because we get to do a lot of conversations and kind of the prep work for a lot of things, but actually going into the community and getting them involved and engaged is the actual fun part. So we are teeing up opportunities to have open house workshops with the community around the brand of Highland Park. What is it Highland Park to look like in the future, kind of based on their experiences and what they see. Housing, I mentioned housing. We plan on having direct engagement with neighborhoods, all the neighborhoods in the city, around housing. What do you want to see in housing? What types of housing do you want to see in your neighborhoods? And that's all going to be hands-on, direct engagement activities. And that will directly drive the goals and objectives that are adopted in these final versions of the updated master plan, the revisions and updates to the zoning ordinance. All of the community input that we'll be collecting over the next few months will directly influence that process.
Man, people won't be able to say too much after that, huh?
No,
And you being PR, you gonna have your hands full. We coming to you.
Yeah.
We gonna bring it to you. And lay it down.
Pipe down.
No. You just say pipe down.
Pipe down.
No, we letting everybody know.
You're the source.
Putting you on notice. Putting you on
Listen,
notice
my
today.
hands is full already. But
Pipe down. That's a good one.
but that's awesome, right? I think in community engagement is important, because I know a lot of people have their own thoughts of what Highland Park looks like to them. And considering that Highland Park has a high senior population. Now, this is a question that just came off the top of my head, so flow with me, track me, okay?
Okay. I'm following.
Considering that there's a high senior population here, right? Some of their concerns may be the fact that they don't want certain types of housing or businesses in the area. What are you doing to create those conversations with them to, also include them, but also kind of help them understand that technology and innovation and these newer things are the modern things is the direction that is important to the younger generation.
Yeah.
How do you plan to bridge that gap?
So I do believe in a hybrid approach when it comes to community and civic engagement. I think COVID taught us that.
Yeah.
There are multiple ways that we can engage residents and communities and different community groups, regardless of age or demographics or where people are located. So when we do have the opportunity, if there are existing groups, we will go to them and present and request their input on situations or the various content we'll be putting together. And it doesn't have to be at a senior center, or it could be out in the community at events. We're willing to, and that's a part of the capacity we bring. We're willing to come to the community where they are. Not everybody has to come directly to City Hall to participate in council meetings, to engage. If you can reach out to us and let us know, we have a community meeting. Is there a way we can have a virtual meeting, or can you come to us? We can find ways to accommodate.
That's awesome. I mean, geez, where were you years ago? That's okay. All right. So as of right now, I know that we've been talking about development. Are there any recent or upcoming projects that residents can be excited about, can know like, hey, this is getting ready to take place in my city. I can't wait until this done. I know quite a few people already know about the Joe Louis Greenway that's coming through, which, man, in itself is going to open up opportunities for a lot of different things. Are there any other upcoming projects?
So last year we did do a couple options to purchase, and we are closing on them. So we're looking at an 8-unit being built right off Woodward and West Grand, on Hamilton and Davidson. So mixed-use development, retail, residential, and also like a little retail space on Midland and Hamilton.
Okay.
So those three are actually, we're closing on them, moving on forward. But the building department has been very busy because people are pulling permits like crazy to do work. So it's a lot of rehabs being done. A lot of the housing is being rehabbed. We got some money to get some demo done. So the county is coming back in to reestablish this demo program to get rid of some of these blighted properties. And we'll also be having an auction coming at the end of the summer.
Oh, snap, another auction.
Yeah.
Hey, it's time to get them properties.
Yeah.
Save your coins. So how does the department prioritize projects? Like what factors determine where the development happens?
So it's really case by case.
Okay.
Right now. All of the planning that's happening is going to kind of establish priorities moving forward. So right now we're taking it as it comes, and when it does come in, I'll definitely work with Donovan on it. So it's in the grand scheme of things because it's important to know. It's important for the engineering department to know, the water department, the police and fire. So all the departments know what's going on. So one of the things that we're doing is making sure that we're working internally to strengthen what's going on internally, so everybody's on the same page. So, the water department, they have, water main projects and everything like that. So we want to make sure that our development is staying in line with that. So now we get DTE involved. So DTE want to bring their electric, the underground. If we're over here, setting up a development, then everybody need to be on deck. And that's how we prioritize it. But right now, I wouldn't say that there is a priority, but it is. I don't know if that makes sense.
I got you. Okay.
And there's also, so there are kind of two tracks of way projects and developments can happen in the city. Economic development has their series of initiatives that they work on, but a lot of what drives development on the planning side is private development.
Okay.
And having the capacity to facilitate projects through that planning and development process. So what McKenna does is we bring those staff and that support to handle what will be, and I hope to be, an influx of site plan applications and development applications, so that the workload goes from maybe 1 or 2 a month to 5 and 10 site plan reviews a month. And we also support the Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay.
And if I could do a quick plug, we do have some vacancies on the commission.
There you go, Mike.
Absolutely.
I want to make sure I can do that. Yeah. So we do have a seven-member planning commission, and I believe a 5-member planning commission board capacity. But we have seats on all of these commissions. So we are actively looking for residents that have an interest in engaging and working more with the city and participating on these boards. And, as you mentioned before, ways that the residents can participate. Directly they see the variances that come through the Zoning Board of Appeals, the site plans and projects and developments that come through the Planning Commission, and they directly provide input on those processes as well. So we would love to have residents participate in those processes and those boards. But that's where you'll see a lot of priority in projects. As applications and projects come in, they will go through the planning process, the updated zoning ordinance, which we'll have this year, which outlines in detail, all of the various steps, requirements, and regulations for new development, new construction. But also we'll be putting together a guide specific to mixed-use projects or commercial projects and residential projects to kind of streamline and make that process easier for individuals that want to build and develop in the city.
Man.
And our historic commission, we need our historic commission back. So if any residents are interested, because it's a lot of grant money available, and Highland Park is a very historic city.
Absolutely.
So I think we're losing traction on that piece because we don't have an historic commission. And, we really need residents to get involved and reach out. We're going to be sending some things to the PR director to push out. So, so this is not just a one-off. We're going to keep it coming. It's on my board. It's on my board to put it together so I can send to just, to push out.
For sure.
On your weekly and your, how you push it out, because it's important to have all these boards. And that, like Donovan mentioned, and then that gives residents the opportunity to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
And you have an opportunity, get off the bench or kind of stop talking about it.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? Cause all of these opportunities, you could be a Monday morning quarterback, but that do no good.
Listen,
it's no good.
I'm gonna do this shameless plug because I preached this past Sunday, and I talked about people getting up off the bench.
Yeah, there you go.
Man.
Be heard, be seen.
Because it's about being about it instead of talking about it.
That's right.
So before we go on our commercial break, I did want to ask this question. What does the departments do to support the small businesses, the entrepreneurs within the community?
So right now, I've been meeting with the SBA, and we are going to bring a lunch and learn. We're going to get with the Highland Park Business Association, do a lunch and learn so the SBA could come in with some of their community partners to let them know that these are the resources available. I'm working with the county on some facade improvement grants and building out capacity building type programs. Okay. So those are the things that's kind of on the board to do. Having capacity helps move a lot of these things forward, because workforce development is definitely needed. Business retention and expansion. So all of these things sound good, look good. We just got to get to them. So my calendar is built out to where it's I'm looking to get into some of those things closer to the fall after we get some of these other checks out the way, on this plan. And McKenna just got here in November, and the transition has been great. So now as they're transitioned in and everything is running smooth, then we can start, CD can kind of start backing up, letting McKenna do what they need to do, and we can kind of focus on some of the other CED-related activities. Okay. So it'll be coming.
Okay, because I know there's quite a few small businesses here.
Yeah.
Quite a few that are Black-owned businesses,
absolutely,
too. And as of right now, the trajectory of the United States as a whole, the support for these businesses have been, something that people are looking for, and it's not always easy to find, right? And Highland Park being a Black community.
Absolutely. I mean, you can look at the numbers and say it. That's what it is.
Yeah, and it's because I like to try and be politically correct.
But the numbers support.
But the numbers,
support what
I know
you
that.
Say. Okay, all right.
I'm just trying to, be careful of how I say certain things, but I just want to make sure that, people understand that the resources are coming. The resources are there. There's opportunities. I know that you mentioned the auction is coming up at the end of...
We don't have a date. I'm working with the auction house now.
Okay.
So I have the properties identified. They have the list. So he's working on the calendar and schedule, and he's going to let us know a date.
Okay. All right. So these things are coming.
Yes.
All right. So y'all heard it. You ain't hear it from me. I asked the questions, but you heard it from them. So these things are coming. And as of right now, we're going to take our commercial break. But when we come back, I have plenty of more questions. I mean, I got a whole lot. So stay tuned. Do not change the channel. Get up, go ahead, grab you something to drink, and come right back. And we'll catch you right after these messages.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. If you lost your property to tax foreclosure between 2015 and 2020, you may be entitled to money, your money. But you have to file a claim by March 31st, 2025. Here's how.
If you lost your home to foreclosure between 2015 and 2020, you may be eligible for a rebate. File your claim at WayneCountyForeclosureClaims.com before the deadline ends on March 31st.
Taxpayer assistance teams are standing by to help you now. Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Your radio is now on TV. Your TV is now on radio. WHPR 88.1 FM can now be heard and seen worldwide. The same platform that hosts all of your favorite content now has WHPR TV and radio. Have your own radio or TV show on Roku with approximately 8 million homes. Debut your music video, clothing line, church ministry, plays, or products. A limited number of slots are available, so act now. For more information, visit RokuDetroit.com or call 313-868-6612. You heard about it. Now come be a part of it. Roku Detroit Worldwide. Approximately 8 million viewers.
Muscles, joints, or feet tired, achy, or distressed? Tried everything? Ringmaster Rubbing Oil is a vintage topical pain reliever, trusted for over 70 years, with a rich formula for the treatment of stubborn aches and pains. Packaged in a glass bottle for purity, our liquid can also be used in warm water for foot soaks and compresses. A little goes a long way. Try our time-tested formula, available in several sizes.
Make a donation to WHBR TV and receive 2 2-ounce bottles of Ringmaster Rubbing Oil for $25. Call 313-868-6612.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. If you lost your property to tax foreclosure between 2015 and 2020, you may be entitled to money, your money. But you have to file a claim by March 31st, 2025. Here's how.
If you lost your home to foreclosure between 2015 and 2020, you may be eligible for a rebate. File your claim at WayneCountyForeclosureClaims.com before the deadline ends on March 31st.
Taxpayer assistance teams are standing by to help you now.
Welcome back to the Highland Park Spotlight. I'm your host, Keisha B, and I am sitting here with Carlton and Donovan, who are intricately working on development here in the city of Highland Park. And if you're just now tuning in and missed the first half, you're going to catch the replay, okay? Because we talked about a lot, and you want to be included on what was talked about. So I know that before we went to commercial break, we talked briefly about the small businesses and whatnot. But I know that you mentioned you wanted to also address the small businesses as well.
Yeah, just, you talk priorities from a department, from a city standpoint. And as we're building out and looking for new developments and businesses to come in, it's important that the small businesses here know that we're working to bring them resources because they've sustained over time. They kept Highland Park viable. They've been here. They've taken the hits. So we want them to enjoy their fruits also. So a lot of the programs that I'm working for, like I say, some facade improvement, capacity building, technical support, all of those resources I'm looking to bring in this year to help them, as we build out. So, we're not building out without them because we want them included.
Right,
and we need you to know that we want you included,
Yeah.
and we want you to grow with the city.
That's awesome. So it's not necessarily attracting new businesses like, come on, and forgetting about them, but it's about we're doing this together as a collective.
Yep, business retention and expansion. Because we got to retain the ones we have and expand on because we got a lot of area. 40% of the city, which has
over
got to be
40.
Residential and business industry. So, but we definitely want to retain the businesses that we have and grow from there.
Okay, so considering that we have the small businesses already here, what is being done to attract the new businesses?
Good question. That's what we're talking about, putting the strategy together. We got the land. We're working with this big group, like you mentioned earlier, like who are our partners now. So we do have this larger group of entities that we're working with, like the state, McKenna, the county, MEDC, MISTA, those type groups. So what we're doing is we're building out a plan to where now everybody's seeing the landscape. So the state know what we got going on, the county, Mitchell. So now we can start plugging in. Oh, you know what? This is a great fit for this business. This is a great fit for this business. And as that started growing out and we start planning out with the residential and where it needs to go where, then we could kind of more identify on what businesses we need to target to grow.
And I think the branding aspect of the planning that we're doing is also important. Because that will also serve as our marketing strategy on how we're kind of attracting and letting people know that we do have land that's available to develop. We are a redevelopment ready community, and we're engaged in that process with the state. And then so we're going to fold those into those strategies on how we're doing outreach and just better positioning the city for development so that if someone does I come across the city and they come across a project, the tools and processes and infrastructure is built into the administration so that those projects have a higher chance of success.
Okay.
And another thing that's important is the streamlining of processes. Navigating the process. So we're working on making sure our processes are manageable and in this business friendly. So, and I believe that could really help also, because one of the things I hear is like, well, how do you get into Highland Park? Or, I've been reaching out, or, all the processes of, the turnover, from administration and legislation every year, kind of, really hurts, because when one administration or legislative body leaves, a new one comes in, nothing is really being left. So this planning that has nothing to do with either, because here's the plan, you got people working on it, like McKenna and the different agencies that's working on it. This could be a plan that an administration could come in, pick up and say, okay, this is the plan. The legislative body could come in and say, okay, this is the plan. It's been vetted. The community has, spoke, because we did all our community engagement. We checked all the boxes. So now we're leaving framework for the other people, to follow.
Right.
In the future. So that's important.
It is.
That's really important.
It is to leave a blueprint, right? For somebody else to come in and pick up and be able to run with, right?
Yes.
I think that's important regardless of what position you play.
Absolutely.
You know, it's regardless of the position, you're always supposed to leave the place better than what you found it. So what measures, okay, so let me reword it. So lifelong and, well, not lifelong, but long time residents, right? I'm tripping over my words. What measures are in place to ensure that they're not displaced? Because with development and with new things coming in, new housing and all of that, people are scared or worried about, oh, well, you know, this our community. We got outsiders coming in, right? How do you, you know, what are some things that are being put in place to help with displacement?
So you want to go?
Yeah. Well, I would say first, once we get into that phase of development, there's a lot of public engagement involved. And that's going to be that first line of defense in terms of, you know, are things coming that the residents may think is intrusive or you know, perceived as outsiders coming into the community. Whereas I would say prior to, I think, McKenna joining Highland Park may not have happened as frequently. So there may be instances where residents feel like historically they may have not had the opportunity to participate and kind of protect themselves from things they may not just want in their backyards. But one of the things that we're bringing into the process now is that requirement for certain projects, you know, that do kind of meet that threshold. They have to go through that public engagement process, and that's built into the framework now. But we're just building more teeth into it and making sure it's actually implemented and followed. Yeah.
And on the other side is, you know, when I talked about misinformation, we got to get a handle on that. So we know we got to get a handle on that. One of the things that's happening also is with McKenna coming in with the building department, they are like doing deep dives into information. So where a resident, that may be their homestead, it may not be registered as their homestead. So their taxes are higher. So letters are being sent out, communication like right now is happening. And of course, you know, you take it first, you know, you get nervous or you get scared or you panic, like, oh, I got this letter. And it's an easy fix. Hey, this is what it's registered as. So if this is your homestead, then here's the affidavit. Go to the treasurer and make sure that you're protected, because what that does is it caps your taxes. So if the taxes, you know, as the property value rise and you know, the new people coming in, they may be paying higher taxes. Those residents that's here in their homestead are protected by that cap. So you know, so it won't be you know, what do you call it? It won't be too much for them. You know, they won't get, you know, the payments won't go up. It won't be inflated to where they won't be affordable. They won't be able to afford what they're paying because it's based off of where they at right now. So we encourage, instead of, you know, that's hard to say. If you get a letter, respond and let's work with the city, because we want to work with residents. We want to work with the community to make sure that everybody is safe, you know. And that's very important, because just like with the small businesses, it's important that the residents that's been here are able to stay here and they are able to, you know, live in a better community, you know, with better quality of life and more amenities and better service as we grow and build our tax base. So, you know, they're entitled to that.
Okay. So if residents are curious as to how their home is registered, who do they contact?
Well, right now, they will be contacted. This is what's happening.
So it's just the other way around as of right now.
Right now, yeah, because but they got to respond to the letters.
Okay.
They have, you know.
So that's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing. Respond if you're getting these letters, and they have been responding. It's
They
like
have.
pitchforks and fire, but you know.
and they're not always, they I think they could be perceived as negative, but in most times it's just a communication. Right?
It's a communication deal.
We just got to get. It's really procedural. We just got to get through this process, and we're willing to work with residents. Time. Just communicate with us, and we'll find ways to make things work. We're here to collaborate rather than hand over fist enforcement and things like that. So
Okay, so it's more so residents need to be more informed as far as what these things are, right? Because it's new for them, right? Let's just be real. They've been here for so long, and then all these things are changing, and it's like, what is this?
And it's the misinformation.
Right.
It's the doom and gloom. I mean, when you have been like beat down for so long, I mean, Highland Park has been taken advantage of. I mean, for many years. And, but guess what? We still here. We done fought. We still fighting. I mean, battles aren't over by no stretch of the imagination. But, we're working to combat it, and we're looking to build a brighter, bigger community. If you look demographically where we sit, if you look and see what's going on around the area, I mean, it's inevitable, but we want to be the ones here, and we want to be the ones to move it forward and enjoy it as well.
Touche. So, in your guys' eyes, how does success look for Highland Park over the next 5 to 10 years?
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's a
That's a good one.
because it's a lot of things I want to see.
Look, you see the
Yeah, you see,
smile.
I got excited because one thing that excites me is I want to bring an update to the Parks and Recreation Plan for the city. That's one of my dartboard goals. In addition to the master planning update, addressing the 40% land ownership, and finding ways to streamline the development of housing in Highland Park. I firmly believe that Highland Park is positioned to be one of the best residential communities in this region. Next to Detroit, in tandem with, and I think all of the land that's available is one of Highland Park's treasures that is yet to be tapped into and uncovered. So success to me looks like seeing the development of housing, attainable and affordable housing, mixed income housing, corridor development, and then the implementation of long-range park and recreation planning. Kind of all those things in a bundle. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Carlton?
That's great. I agree. I agree 100% with Donovan on that. The green space, the corridors, you're looking at, Hamilton to me is the key to everything. Woodward is going to take care of Woodward, but we need, we got work to do on Woodward, but Hamilton is ours. The Highland Park owns it. We own a lot of the land. It really gives us an opportunity, and that's going to be, to me, that's going to be the measure. What happens on Hamilton, because then you got west of Hamilton, a little bit of east Hamilton, but Hamilton is going to set the tone for what's happening west of Hamilton. And that's the area. So if you look at like west of Hamilton on the north side of the city, it needs a lot of love.
Yeah.
That was a very hard hit area. And if you look at the color coded map, you can see that that's where the majority of that 40% is. And then you got, that west of Hamilton kind of further south, but that area, and then North Point, which is on the east of Woodward, but still closer to 6 Mile. So those areas, that North Point, Hamilton, those are the areas that, I'm really want to focus on. I want to make sure that when I talked about workforce development, I feel like, I want to see our community, better jobs,
Yeah.
and they're available, but we got to connect some dots.
Right.
There are a lot of sustainable jobs. Even with everything that's going on in Washington, there's still a lot of money and a lot of development happening. And they're aging out. That skilled trades, they're aging out. But we got all the infrastructure work. It's a lot of work being available, and I want to connect our residents, our babies, to that work to build up our workforce. And they could buy homes in Highland Park as we build them.
Touche.
So that, like, to me, that would be the plan. Building up the workforce, and as we develop, we build and we live here.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a tagline.
Live,
Tagline right
See
there.
who did it. I want copyright. Okay, I want copyright. All of that. I want everything coming to me with that tagline. Okay.
Listen, if y'all see some documents go out with that on it, don't say nothing.
Live, work, play, Highland Park.
No, for real.
Yes.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of the show, and I want to just allow for you guys to kind of open it up and tell residents how they can join the Historic Commission, how they can join the different boards, and ways to stay informed and get involved. So the floor is yours.
Yeah. Well, I'll start. One of the first things we did when we got to Highland Park, we updated the building department website, the planning department website.
I updated.
You updated
Through the chair.
right? Just because everything goes through
Go
her.
through the chair. Right.
She was important.
Right.
She's the important one. And so all of the communication, happens through the website. In addition, all the applications are updated. I mentioned we'll be putting together a guide to development so people can expect that in the next, I think, 60 or so days.
Okay.
That'll be on the website, and we're open for business. We're in the building and safety department. We're staffed there, so you can always find a way to get in contact with us, and I'm responsive, and you can get a hold of me. Email is on the website, dsmith@mcka.com.
Everything's on the website.
Everything's on the website.
That's important.
Communication is central to making sure this works. So we went through the process to make sure that that's ready.
All right.
And just to add, you can call Kalinda at 313
That's his assistant.
0050 extension 255. She returns calls, answers calls. We will be working closer with PR on these positions. I'm working on some postings to send, and get the creativity that she has to click a button and they can respond. Right? You can do stuff like that, right? You can do it.
Trying
You
to
can
put
do
more work on my plate. We're gonna make it happen though. We're gonna make it happen.
But it's gonna be streamlined. It's like click of the button kind of stuff, and we want to make it easy. But we need the residents, we need the community to look for the information.
Because it's there.
Because it's there. I mean, we get to eat. You're doing a wonderful job. Okay.
Thank you.
You are sending out the information. The website is staying updated. As soon as we need something, it's done. So those things are happening in real time, if you will.
Absolutely.
The postings for the meetings. I mean, we're posted for every meeting. With this, I can't stop saying it, but this new capacity with McKenna on board and being able to follow the letter of the law, I mean, it's so easy because now we know exactly where everything is coming from. And if it's not there, we have to create it and go through the proper channels to make sure it's correct. But
Right.
we're following state law, we're following charter, we're following ordinances. We are following things, and we're taking notes, say, okay, you know what, this needs to be updated, and that's going to be the process. That's what's going to make us successful, and that's what's going to take us to the next level.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Those things.
So he put it out there. It's on the website. So
It is though.
it's on the website. Because when I literally I put myself in my grandmother's shoes when I had the site redeveloped. Okay, and I know how my grandma was. And she like, I can't find nothing, you know? And so literally at the very top is a search bar. You could type whatever it is that you need to find in that search bar, click enter, and boom, it pops up. And I really tried to redefine it, because usually back in the day, that website was terrible. You would type in something in the search bar, hit enter, and a million pages come up that had no relevance whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
And so now it's been really fine-tuned, condensed. Old information has been removed. You guys have been great at sending me the information so I can get it updated. And so I am looking forward to just making things a little bit easier and more streamlined. If the residents haven't signed up for text and email updates, you could do so via the website. It's a button, top right-hand corner. Click the button, you can sign up. And so it's imperative for residents to get involved. It's imperative for, residents to grab their phones and go to the website and just find the information that's there, because most municipalities, the way they distribute information is via the website and via socials. And that's the primary source of information. And so if you need help, just ask, right? Because closed mouths don't get fed. And we have a YouTube channel. Hey, listen, because I was putting in work.
It's all there.
Putting in work. There's a YouTube channel and there's how-tos. So like what I would like to do is get with you guys on different things that people might need when it comes to businesses. How do I find certain documents or whatever, or how do I complete certain documents, because I think that's necessary as well.
That's a great idea.
We'll get those things updated. It's going to take a little time, but I'm going to work on it. And so, again, I thank you guys for coming to the show. I know y'all got a 1 o'clock. I got a 2 o'clock. But we're going to take our last commercial break. I do thank you so much for joining me. We could probably revisit this maybe a couple months from now and see where we are in the next phase, right?
We got a very aggressive timeline.
Very.
It's very aggressive.
1 o'clock.
All right. Well, y'all, there it is. So we're going to take our last commercial break. Stay here because I have an announcement to make at the very end, and then you guys will see me next time. So stay locked in, and we'll return right after this.
Your radio is now on TV. Your TV is now on radio. WHPR 88.1 FM can now be heard and seen worldwide. The same platform that hosts all of your favorite content now has WHPR TV and radio. Have your own radio or TV show on Roku with approximately 8 million homes. Debut your music video, clothing line, church ministry, plays, or products. A limited number of slots are available, so act now. For more information, visit RokuDetroit.com or call 313-868-6612. You heard about it. Now come be a part of it. Roku Detroit Worldwide. Approximately 8 million viewers.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Welcome back to the Highland Park Spotlight. I'm your host, Keisha B. And if you're just now tuning into the show, I am so sorry because you missed a great show. I had Carlton and Donovan from the Community and Economic Development Department for the city of Highland Park here on the show, and we talked about a ton of things, new developments, the different commissions and boards that they're looking for residents to partake in. So if you're interested, please visit the website, send a message, let us know, and that information will get forwarded to the correct person. But I did want to make this announcement. If you have not received the emails, if you're not signed up for the text or email updates, I am letting you know now. The mayor of the city of Highland Park is having her State of the City address tonight at 6 p.m. It will be held at Faith Tabernacle Church on Hamilton and Geneva, right there on the corner. Doors open at 5:30. So please, if you are interested in coming out to hear what the mayor has to say, she will be addressing the upcoming events and changes, the state of the city as far as developments. Also, she will talk about the water. And so please come out, get this information. She will not be able to take questions as this is not a town hall, but she will be addressing the residents. So again, that is tonight at 6 p.m. at Faith Tabernacle Church, located at Hamilton and Geneva. Doors open at 5:30. So if you can attend, please show up. I thank you for tuning in to the Highland Park Spotlight. I'm your host, Keisha B., and I will catch you next time.